Dapper Don Podcast. Dapper Don Podcast. This is your boy Dapper Don Dez.
What's up? It's your boy Dapper Don Dez. You are now tuned in to Dapper Don Podcast. It's the only podcast keeping it real for all you fake ones out there. I don't say that on every podcast. I said it now, though. I want to talk about things in the culture, things that I see, things that just kind of hit me. And, of course, I want to give you a break from the coronavirus, but I will talk about things that is affected by the coronavirus. We have from hip-hop artists doing live Instagram parties, talk about getting to the bag even when it's bad. We want to talk about Hitmaka and his unfortunate home invasion, or was it domestic violence? We don't know. Let's look at the evidence. I also want to talk about new rappers. Is that too much power? What is too much power for new rappers? I got to talk about that. And that's going to take me to Kodak Black and his situation from, not just Kodak Black, but Kanye, Bun B. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. So let's get into it. First thing I want to say is, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video and this podcast wherever you listen to it at, whether that be iTunes, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasting needs met. Oh yeah. So the first one I want to talk about is Hitmaka. Hitmaka was he was involved in what I can see, from what I can see, is a home invasion, an attempted home invasion. So let's take the story to the beginning, because if you're going to tell a story, you should tell it from the beginning. That's the best place to start with a story. Hitmaka was allegedly involved into a domestic violence dispute. News hit that he had pistol whipped his girlfriend. And there was really disturbing pictures that seen her bruised up and beat up. And we was like, is this the Hitmaka we all know and love? It don't seem like something he would do. Seems like a really nice guy. So we see these bloody pictures, these beaten pictures, and it was so, reminiscent of like Rihanna in 2009, right? Or 2008, one of those in that time, when she had her drama with Chris Brown. So it kind of reminded us that, but it's pistol whipping. But the first thing came to my mind is, well, why isn't he in jail? We're not talking about what his bond is. We're not talking about how much he has to pay. What you pistol whip that's a felony offense. That's a federal offense. I said, I know they may be shutting things down, but they're not shutting down a federal prison. So why isn't he in jail? Now, of course, I was like, well, let's see what all comes about it. Well, Hitmaka, and this was about 4 days ago, so this isn't recent news, but I felt like I had to talk about it because I do my podcast once a week. If I did it like every day, then I would be over it by now, but I couldn't go without at least acknowledging this. And for those who don't know who Hitmaka is, I definitely didn't take it to the beginning of the story, did I? Because I didn't tell you who Hitmaka was. Well, see, Hitmaka, better known as Young Bird, it was, a popping rapper in 2006. He had a record called Sexy Lady. And, man, he was slotted to be the new Lil Bow Wow. This guy was really good. Unfortunately, a lot of mishaps, like now, came his way where people would jump him, take his chain, slap him around. He's a really short, fairly light-skinned guy. I know complexion has nothing to do with toughness, but it's a thing in our, that's a thing in our hip-hop community. I didn't make that up. That's been a thing in our community where it's, he's soft because of that. But, so he changed his name from Young Bird to Hitmaka and became a producer. He started producing and writing hits, and even handed hits to some people who like turned their back on him, people who tried to humiliate him, all of this, and he didn't hold any grudge. He just continued to do what he felt was important for him and his career, and that was making music and writing songs. Those songs started being #1 records. He had #1 records with Chris Brown, Jeremiah, Meek Mill's Dangerous. He had Big Sean Bounce Back. Like, he has hit records. Hitmaka literally has hit records. So much so that he went from being an artist that got dropped from Epic to being the VP of Atlantic Records. The man is he's a comeback story. He's probably the best comeback stories of the last decade, next to 2 Chainz and Joe Budden. He himself even said that. I think those are the three that I would put into that same category with if I was going to put anybody in that category. But so that's pretty much a rundown of him. A man who in front of the camera met so much obstacles and so much adversity, but behind the camera seemed to have thrived very well for himself. But once again, the spotlight is not kind to this young brother. He finds himself in more drama. So, of course, the domestic violence thing comes out that he pistol whipped his girlfriend. And to find out later on that this was an attempted, so what he does, you know, he seeks legal counseling. He goes through all the legal paperwork. But in this Me Too era, you know, it's just so easy for a person, especially a brother of color, to be just thrown through the system. And that public opinion rules, and it has no real law and order and due processing. So in the court of public opinion, he presented evidence. He showed evidence of what supposedly he showed evidence of what was supposed to be his backyard, and showed hooded men jumping his fence around the same time that him and said girl was supposed to be in the house. So I'm assuming, you know, that this all took place at the same time. I don't know, but he's saying that there's more evidence than just this. So I'm just going to say what I saw, because I can't make an assumption and say this was exactly the same time, the same area, his actual house. I can't prove any of that. But what I can say is that this is what he's saying, and that he showed videos of guys hopping a fence, and it looked like they was waiting by the back door. They was passing guns through a fence that he allegedly said was his. And this was at the time he alleged that him and this young lady was in the house. So it looked like a setup, right? It looked like a duck, quack like a duck. It's feeling as obvious as it can get. So he's saying that that's what's going on with them. This is a tough one because the guys never enter the house. The alarm system goes off. I'm assuming they flee, and she's stuck there. He's saying that she turned around and attacked him. This is where it's tough, because you did bring forth the idea and understanding that this woman came out and attacked you. She came with the ruckus. She tried to put an attempt on your life. You was mad. You was angry. But I don't think you had to pistol whip her. I think you were scared. I think you were afraid. And unfortunately, man, because nobody was apprehended, because another thing that kind of points to her guilt. Not only was she getting active on Young Bird, but they also found phone numbers and whatnot tracing back to the alleged people who was supposed to have robbed him. The people who allegedly broke into his backyard. They found her texting his address to an unknown number that I'm guessing his legal team and maybe even the district attorney is trying to tie together into this attempted home invasion, because that is exactly what this is, an attempted home invasion, and that's a serious crime. Another thing, and I guess one of the biggest things according to him, that she tried to get him into the jacuzzi in the backyard. That's where this alleged home invasion happened. This attempted home invasion. It was right in the backyard. You can see the jacuzzi. He was supposed to be back there, and they was gonna hop the fence, and man. And I believe, and the reason why I believe is because, like I told you, he's had the reputation of being sweet. He's had the reputation of being somebody that was easy to pick on, easy to push over. I don't believe that he did anything wrong. I don't believe that the man means any harm to anybody. I think he's genuinely a good person, and he just got caught up with these women, man. You got to be careful out here when you move around here, Hitmaka. You got to hit records, and this was out in L.A., the same place Pop Smoke got popped, the same place. This is a common thing in L.A. It's a very common thing in L.A., and you should just be careful. So which brings me to my next point of things not being what they seem. I say maybe about a few days ago, I can't even say when, but a few days ago, a video comes out of Kanye West. That's right, the one and only Kanye West. Kanye Tutter. You remember that when it was Kanye Tutter? Back when he used to wear He used to wear the Louis Vuitton backpack. He was called the Renaissance man. Yeah, but anyway, video of Kanye West. Or I don't know if it was video of their taped phone call. That's right, Kanye West was taping phone calls. I don't know if you remember back in 2016. Oh yeah, in 2016, Kanye West videotaped a video with him and Taylor Swift, and they went at it. They didn't go at it. They had what seemed like a civilized conversation. And in the conversation, Kanye West tells Taylor Swift about a certain line that he referenced her in a song. Now, this was a big deal in 2016 because they used it to frame this young lady's character. Now, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not going to hold you. I mean, I've never listened to an entire Taylor Swift album. I've heard songs on the radio. I can see she's talented. I see she got skill, but it's not really in my space. It's not really in my circumference, but I know she's one of the biggest artists in the game. I know that much. I know that she was famous before all of the shenanigans with Kanye. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is because in 2016, Kanye and Kim leaked an edited version on some Love and Hip Hop type ish of making it seem like she gave permission for the entirety of the line in the song Famous. Well, when the edited video came out, they kind of bashed in it and said, "Oh, look, she took it out of context. She doesn't have a problem with it. This, that, and the third." This was some real snake shit, though. Real snake for Kim and K, because you know why? Just recently, the full video came out, and she literally, the first thing that came out of her mouth after he was done talking, because he asked her about the song, he played a line, I think him and Taylor Swift should have sex, blah, blah, blah. First thing she said, "You ain't got nothing in there calling me the B word, do you? You ain't got nothing in there talking bad about me, talking down on me, trying to clown me. You ain't got nothing like that in there, do you?" He said no. He told her no. Now, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but if I ask you, do you got anything in there that I'm gonna need to be worried about, and you tell me I ain't got nothing to worry about, I should be a little worried if you show me, if I come out and I hear, and I hear you call me the very thing I told you not to call me. So, this led to her fan base being enraged, engulfed in anger. They came out with Kanye West party. Kanye West is over party. Hashtag Kanye West is over party. You can jump in on all the Twitter fun. And they just pretty much rubbing it in his face that, hey, look, you made Taylor look completely, it's corny. It's corny. It's corny what he did, because it's like, Dipset had smoke with you. You ain't want no smoke back. You turn around and diss Beyonce. He did go at Drake. He did go at Drake too. Not even really. Like, you got all this smoke for her, but Drake wanted all the smoke. He wanted all the smoke. And you had nothing to say. You copping please. You saying you apologize for diss records you didn't even make. So I'm not feeling it. It's corny, is lame. I'm not with it. You can keep it personally. But that's basically what happened. And I remember, before I move on to another topic that's way more interesting than this, she did have a real interesting thing where she kept it so G. She was saying, because the line also talked about how he made her famous. And she said to an extent, and I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not going to go look it up, is the fact that, well, you have to say how you experienced it. Because no matter if I tell you what really happened, the way you experienced it is how you're going to tell it. It doesn't matter that before you did that, I had already sold 7 million records, which is what did happen. Now that's big facts. She said she sold 7 million records. I didn't even know Taylor sold like that. I thought she did a mill or two. So she was saying I was already a humongous pop star before that. And I didn't know she sold that much. I'm going to be fair. And that does also kind of come to where in our community, we sometimes seem to think that we've made an artist or we've made a group of people. It's like, they went popping before they came messing with the culture. There's a whole nother world going on. And she was a country singer, so I'm pretty sure she has her feelings towards it, and she's spoken, and now the truth's out there to light. And Kanye's fraudulent, though. So it's kind of funny, right? To go from Young Berg, a.k.a. Hitmaka, who's from Chicago and who was wrongfully bullied, and him be able to come back into the spotlight and be lied on by a woman, to now a woman be lied on by a guy, another rapper from Chicago. I just think that's funny. You never know. You never know. Bun B was wilding in the Whataburger. I know that's crazy. Weird segue, right? Bun B was wilding in the Whataburger. So apparently the Whataburger line was super long. I didn't even know they still ate Whataburger. I didn't know you, as a millionaire, I don't know if I would be eating Whataburger. When this podcast blow up, I don't eat Whataburger right now. So I know when this podcast blow up, I'm not finna be eating no damn Whataburger. That's a fact, though. So, I think actually Mark Brunell, the Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback, former quarterback, he owns a Whataburger, some equity in Whataburger. But I'm not crazy about Whataburger. Apparently Bun B and his wife Queenie is, because they were sitting in line at a Whataburger's drive-thru. The Whataburger's drive-thru ended up having a line that went out to the street. I suppose their car was also out in the street. And I'm definitely not eating Whataburger, especially not during a quarantine. It's supposed to be a quarantine right now. I didn't even know if I was gonna come to the studio, let alone go out to Whataburger. But anyway, his car was apparently out in the street, because that's just how long the line was around the building, because people clucking for those Whataburgers. And a white lady apparently pulled up, got into it with Queenie, Bun B's wife, called her the N-word, and said she'll shoot her in the parking lot. This is what they're alleging. This is what they're saying. And just to give you a little background on the kind of year they've been having. A few months ago, I like to say, how long ago? I'm gonna say 6 months. I'm gonna shoot 6 months out there. It might have been longer. It could have been longer. But 6 months ago, funny enough, talking about home invasions. It's home invasion kind of thing. Home invasion is the theme of this podcast today. The home invasion that Bun B and his wife was home invaded, and Bun B shot and chased the home invader out of his house. Now, mind, this guy's a Texan, so you know he got a gun, and a gangster rapper, so you know he got a gun. And he chased the guy out of the house with the gun, him and his wife, because first his wife answered the door. The guy kicked the door in, like, yo, give me the money, give me everything in the house, blah, blah, blah. He was saying, take me upstairs, but his wife knew she was upstairs, so she was clever, and she tried to get him and take the car. But by the time Bun B heard all the ruckus, he came downstairs with that, with that thing and let it have it, and let it go. So that's just a little background information, and this is also one half of the duo UGK. Rest in peace, Pimp C. So I don't know if you know anything about UGK, but if you know something about UGK, then you know there ain't nobody to be getting into it with in the middle of a Whataburger. Not in the middle of the Whataburger, know what I mean? So anyway, they didn't leave it there. Now, if that's all that would have happened, I wouldn't have left it there, because a white lady called them an N-word, said they'll shoot them. We go through it. If you within the community, you know that we hear that word from time to time. And the way we choose to react is based on an individual level. Sometimes we like to get articulate with them and educate them on the greatness of how Black history, how African Americans have molded this culture and shaped this country. We could on how it shaped this country, or you can get ignorant and really show them how we get busy. Well, they kind of did a little both. Queenie, so they end up seeing the lady's car in Walgreens. They go in Walgreens, and Queenie confronts the woman and says, am I still that N-word? Blah, blah, blah. Do you still think I'm that N-word? And honestly, I'm not sure if, They just kind of honestly ended up walking off. It wasn't too much of a big deal. It wasn't really nothing too crazy, but they did end up getting into it. That's for sure. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got their hands touched. But Bun B did end it on a note that, you know, you may have to back up the things that you say, and that's very well possible. That's very well possible. But definitely another thing that I'm seeing is becoming way more of a trend with this coronavirus is artists still keeping the party going. You know, there's no reason to make the party stop just because everything is going awry and there's a whole pandemic going on out here. That's not stopping nobody from getting money. And the reason why I say that is because just last night, Boogie Down Bronx production D Nice. That's right, the homie D Nice threw an Instagram party, and he didn't just do 1,000. He didn't do 10,000. He did, that's right, 100,000 people attended this Instagram live party, and he just turned up and showed out. And he wasn't the only one. DJ Premier also did an Instagram party. He brought out all the big names. Russell Simmons, Static Select, Ludacris. Come on, don't play with me. Sway Lee did an Instagram party. An Instagram live party. These artists who really make a living and really make money off of just their, not only their fans, supporting them in touring, but also on merch and just keeping their name alive. And they're finding ways to do that. I don't know if the Instagram party is going to be the way to keep doing it, because Lord knows how long this pandemic is going to last. This actual pandemic could be anything from 18 months to 24 months of an epidemic. There's no telling when they're actually going to come out with a vaccine. There's no telling when any of this stuff is actually going to get better. Only thing that we can say is that these artists they still need the support. So a lot of the independent artists who rely on touring is asking for their fans to support them on Patreon, to support, their Patreon, buy their albums, get their merch. And, and you definitely should do that. If there's an artist you like, there's a young, up and coming artist that you into, I think you should really support them. I like a young brother out of Dade County called Bruno Mali. He a young Haitian rapper. I think he's really dope. I definitely support that. Trouble from Duct Tape. It's just Sue Surf. It's a lot of artists that I like that I know depend a lot on touring and a lot on show money. And that's slowing up. Because mind you, they're shutting down LA. They're shutting down New York City. They're shutting down major metropolitans. And I don't get what the plan is. Because if we're shutting all of those things down, how are we dealing with them? Rihanna's donating $5 million. She has a charity that she has $5 million donating. I guess Fenty got her pocket sitting fat because I don't never remember her throwing checks around like that. But, clearly she has her thing moving right now. And, and she's showing love to the set because they definitely need that money. They definitely need an opportunity to, not going to say they need the money, but we need all hands on deck. We need some people to be showing love. And speaking of showing love and spending money, throwing the bands around, let's talk about the young man Kodak Black. Kodak Black is officially serving a 46-month prison sentence and concurrent with the 3 to 7 for criminal possession, I guess. So anyway, I think the 46 is for lying on document saying that he wasn't a felon, that he can own a gun. And the other 3 to 7 is to say, I guess for having guns. I don't know if y'all remember me telling y'all that he was allegedly involved in like some drive-by in a Porsche. He didn't kill anybody or hit anybody, but still, he shot up an apartment full of kids. So this is a dangerous man. I'm not gonna tell you this is alleged. None of this stuff can be proven. I don't think there's been any cases filed against him, but this is what is being alleged against him. Anyway, but as Kodak always pointed out, he does more good than bad. I don't know what he means by does more good than bad. I think more number of things he calls good versus more number of things he calls bad. Because you can do one really bad thing and that counts for a million good things. You know, so I don't know if he knows that's how that works or not, but yeah, that's how that works. But yeah, he did that. He had all that little drama going on. Him and him and his lawyer, well, just him. He's donating $5,000 to his elementary. He's doing things to try to really turn back and show that he's a man of the people, a man of the culture. He's not just a man of violence, that he actually truly cares about the people. This is a big deal. I think he said $5,000 in books, or no, like 362 books, or $5,000 in office supplies. Which, mind you, $5,000 isn't a lot for him, but it's still some money, and it's good publicity. And this is off the heel of him going on Instagram Live in prison, him saying Meg Thee Stallion took his wants credit for drive the boat. You know when you got a partner that get locked up, and they just want to spend off day on the phone with you, have you call them and talk to them all day, and you like, man, we didn't even talk this much when you was gone. Like, yak, you're gone, dog. Everybody told you to slow down, and this is what it is. There's little techers now. There's Rich the Kids. Rich the Kid was out when he was out. There's Sweetie. There's Meg Thee Stallion. There's Doja Cat. There's just new people that's gonna keep coming out. And I'm not mad at him for fighting for relevance, because you gotta still stay in the game. And I think he has a single out too. I just don't know if what he's doing is gonna keep him relevant for 46 months, man. I hope he got enough music to sustain him. I hope he has enough, just whatever, man. I just hope he has enough just mental capacity, because you're still young. You're still young. I believe he's 22, so he's probably gonna get out at 26. You're not gonna be a kid anymore. You're not a kid anymore right now. But, you know, you want everybody to treat you like a grown man. Back in that Nipsey thing, it was like, oh, stop little boy me. Here's your chance to be a man about it. So that's a good thing what he did with the kids. But, you know, I think we got to also just address that. We got to address that young brothers out there, you know, we're not your mom. The world, now when I say we, I mean the world. I'm not just talking about, you know, in hip hop or in black people. The world, they're not your mom. They're not going to pat you on the back every time you do the right thing. You did the right thing because you wanted to be a part of this thing we call, you know, society. That's a part of doing the right thing. We're not going to pat you on your back when you do the wrong thing, and just a slap on the wrist pat on the back when you do the right thing, and a slap on the wrist when you do the wrong thing. There's consequences. There's checks and balance to this thing. And you had a lot. And he even wrote a letter saying, you know, coming out of projects and how tough it was for him. And I know it can be tough, because it didn't seem like he had a lot of good people around him, but there was a reason why everybody was telling you to slow down. You're not the first person to get rich and make a bad decision. You're not the first person to get rich and, you know, and really blow it all on being arrogant. You can look at Meek Mills, he did that. You can look at even Young Berg, he did that. But there's consequences to everything. There's checks and balances. So that's really just what I wanted to touch on this week, man. No. I remember the last thing I wanted to touch on. And that's why I wanted to talk about the Kodak situation first. Do you believe that young artists these days have too much power? Is that too much too quick? Because we used to look at people like Lil Bow Wow, right? Lil Bow Wow didn't really do anything too stupid with his money. He was out of the people our age group, he was the one that was the first one to get paid, the first one to really make money, make a wave, and really just kind of, you know, set it off, honestly, on the rap scene. And he didn't do half the stuff you see getting done. But now, allegedly, you got rappers putting money on each other. You got they getting offered every woman they can imagine, all of this money they can imagine. Imagine that. That's different. And I remember like Lord Jamar talking about, people are living out fantasies. They just now be able to get women. This is bigger than just being able to get a woman or two. See, because what he's talking about, and a lot of dudes who's like, I'm handsome, I'm suave, I can just get women off the rip. This is deeper than that. We talking about these dudes can see a picture of a woman in Brazil, like her picture, DM her, and they'll be right, and she'll be right where he at in a matter of hours, maybe a day. That's excessive. You understand? The level of effort and the fact that more than they could ever do anything with. And that excess is dangerous. Because I remember when I first started getting money, just get personal on my personal end. When I first started getting money and I got a job that put me on like some real paper, where I was making like, it's a job I had, but it was an entry level when I first started this business. Not my job. When I first started, I had access to money you wouldn't believe, man. I had access to dollars that, and when I got to get a chance to get that kind of money, it's funny how there was like a triangle, right? I would say it's like a triangle of vice, then there's a triangle of virtue. I had a triangle of vice where it seemed like fast women, whether that be dancers or just whoever, you deal with them, that seemed to lead to intoxication, such as like liquor, whatever. Liquor led to a bad diet, fried food, just junk food, whatever. And that seemed to lead back into, the choice of women that I dealt with. And this triangle of vice seemed to just kind of, circulate among itself. It didn't seem like it had much of a starting or ending point. It all just seemed to blur together. And I'm talking a couple $100. I'm not talking a couple $1 million here. We're talking about a couple $100 and how readily, sex, intoxication, and just I guess just physical self-sabotage was available to you. If I'm talking, and it's funny because if you think about it, all that can be found in one place. That's a strip club. You go to a strip club, you can find fried food, liquor, and loose women all in one spot. So just to try to get into the mind state of an up-and-coming artist who has millions, I'm just thinking how much of a temptation that was for me at 25. Having already been through life, having already been through enough, not having no kids, not having no responsibility, blah, blah, blah. It's just me, and how tempting that was just to have a couple extra $100 in my pocket to throw around and look at the trouble I got into. Imagine having millions. Imagine instead of being able to buy a couple drinks of Hennessy at the bar, you can get any drug you want. Instead of, whatever woman's working that night or who's ever in the nightclub that night, it's any woman you want. And then you got to also think about, they also have access to certain hoods, certain neighborhoods where people are so impoverished, man, they'll do anything for $5,000. So let's say you have somebody who you got an issue with, a problem with, and they're ridiculing you, they're getting under your skin. You will offer what is pocket change to you, what you have literally sitting in your pocket that can go missing and no one will notice. You can give that to him, slide that to the, to those people, to those certain entities, and they'll move on your behalf. I don't want to get too deep in that but you see with the NBA YoungBoy G Money situation, you see with Boosie getting locked up for damn near 10 bodies. This is a common thing. This is a real issue. So when you have sex, drugs, and violence being offered so readily to these young men, where does that virtue triangle come into? Because remember what I said. I had my vice triangle where it seemed like fried food, certain women, intoxication, it all just went into one triangle. Well, I had a virtuous triangle too, where if I found myself building more of an intimate relationship like I'm in now. It led to me reading more instead of getting intoxicated. It was more books than bottles, and those books and bottles led to me going to the gym more and kind of changing how I position myself and looking more into what I eat. And this became like a virtuous triangle. And that virtuous triangle is way more powerful than the vice, because you just get the virtuous triangle going. You just get the momentum going. It starts up and it can maintain. But unlike the vice, you remember how I told you with the vice triangle? It feels like there's no beginning or end to it. It just starts. You have to, for me, I can't say what everybody, but for me, it felt like I had to jumpstart this triangle for myself. This triangle of a healthy lifestyle. What is it for that artist to turn to? Because assuming, let's say, their music is a part of that triangle. That's the first corner of that triangle. Then you have the shows. Then what would you have from there? The videos, the shoots, so instead of, I guess the same thing, building healthy relationships, being knowledgeable, being knowledgeable about your craft, and executing your job on a daily. So yeah, that'll be that triangle, right? That'll be that triangle. Building healthy relationships, learning about your craft, executing daily. If they do those three things, then that'll avoid that triangle of sex, drugs, and violence. And, that's just something that I worry about when it comes to these young artists. Are they in a position where they have people around them who are going to do what's best for them or do what's best for that person's pockets? So just leave it on that note. Life is always a balance of virtue and vice, right? That seems to be how this whole thing works. But until then, it's your boy Dapper Don Des.